And welcome, everybody. Welcome to Getting Started with Tynker. Tynker teachers, hello, and welcome back to school for 2025-26. My name is Daniel Rizak, and I'm super excited to have all of you join us for the next 45 minutes in this amazing free Tynker PD series. We have educators from all over the world. We've got Monica from Italy joining us today. We've got Dom from Pennsylvania, Mike from Michigan, Shaylee from Texas, so many more. Welcome. So I just love to bring the Tynker community together. So definitely use the chat, get to know each other while you're there. I'm a former Tynker, former educator, science teacher, STEM coordinator, been a Tynker person here for like 9+ years. So I'm real excited to share with you the joys of Tynker and a lot of the updates and things that have been happening with Tynker over the past few months and whatnot. So welcome. We are going to present our agenda for today. Here's what we've got for you. We are going to be starting with just getting a little bit, introducing what is Tynker, give you a little bit of background as to what, some of the updates Tynker has gone through, and there's a lot of content, a lot of great coursework there. So just keep in mind that the educators joining us today are all different levels of Tynker. Some are brand new to Tynker, some are pros. Some of you, some of what you see today is going to be familiar, but to some of you, this is going to be brand new. So let's just be patient, and I'm going to try to make sure you are all witnessing some great new things that we have for Tynker, some of the AI tools and things that we have. So we have some big announcements coming up. You're all going to want to hear. So, and we're giving away a Tynker t-shirt. So let's get going. But yeah, so you're going to see a little bit of some of the free coursework that's with Tynker. So if you haven't assigned any of that free coursework, I'll show you where that is, and we'll set up a free class for you and get you going there. We'll also do a little preview of the Tynker curriculum, and I'm going to crack open some of my favorite parts of the Tynker curriculum, from pre-K to some of the Tynker Workshop and some of the game development stuff that's going on. And then I'll open up the Tynker Workshop and show you what the kids are using for making great projects, and then also some AI stuff, and then some amazing Tynker tools that you should be aware of that I hope you're using, but they are there. So we're going to make sure that you're using that stuff. But if you haven't, chatted with the group, definitely let people know who you are and what you're all about, and connect with each other. We are going to be giving away a t-shirt at the end of this, so just make sure if you're active in the chat, we'll have a good group of people to pick from, and we'll pick a winner at the end of today's webinar. But let me start right there with kind of the what is Tynker. And Tynker is the complete path to CS and AI mastery. It's also one of the simplest ways to get any teacher teaching computer science and AI literacy with your students from pre-K to high school. I've used this with my students. I've been using this for many years. And I'll tell you some of the reasons I really love Tynker. One of those is I used to be a tech coach. So the core curriculum integration, that STEM courses, math, science, English, tying that directly to computer science and computer science literacy always gave me a great opportunity to connect computer science with other domains. Obviously, there's tons of content and coursework, 1,000+ hours. Our PD team, say hi to Robin, David, they're back there, and there's more where that came from. Our PD team is just illustrious, and they're really helpful. And some of the classroom management tools, automatic grading, and then, of course, all these block and text coding courses starting from pre-K going all the way to high school, and used in so many schools throughout the US and the world. Tynker empowers kids to be makers. So if you're using hardware and you're integrating with, robotics, we've got you covered. Makey-makeys, microbits, augmented reality. We've got coursework and projects that connect directly to core curriculum, STEM and project-based learning, hundreds of projects. We have some great AI integration as well. Two great courses for K-5 and advanced. And then, of course, all these great icon and block coding and text coding courses for everyone. So just so much to choose from and a ton of fun, very game development focused. At this point, we've had hundreds of millions of users of students all around the world. I've taught students in, Sri Lanka and Australia and Japan with Tynker. It's been really great to see this community come together all around the world. And of course, great districts are using Tynker all around, the United States and like Australia, one of the biggest districts in the world. And at this point, 8 billion lines of code. I mean, it's just enormous and it's great. So it's tons of fun. Um, this is kind of the path, right? With Tynker, you've got this pre-reader path that starts with like Tynker Junior. So if you haven't used Tynker Junior, my gosh, you're going to really love that. It's icon based and you transition from icon to block-based coding. You transition from block-based and project-based, moving into text coding. And then we have this great, obviously, with our relationship with CodeHS, now you have an awesome path, complete path to mastery with computer science and AI. So just so much stuff for you and your students and teachers. So just a little snapshot, thousands plus hours of curriculum at this point, pre-reader, block coding, hundreds of hour of code challenges. That's kind of how we got our start with the Hour of Code and CS Ed Week, and tons of these DIY projects. So Tynker's more than just coursework. You can put your students into a course, but then they have all these great ways to apply their skill. And that's really what it's all about. And then again, those STEM courses, electives, microbit, augmented reality, AI. And so I'm going to start here by cracking open Tynker, my dashboard, and helping you set up a class so that you can see how to do this. You can follow along. You can do this with me. But we're going to add a classroom and we're going to add student usernames, select grade level, and then we're going to create some Tynker accounts and kind of show you how you can get that going. And then let's get to it. So let me go ahead and break that open. So you can start just by logging in to Tynker. And when you log into Tynker, you're going to get into your dashboard. And if you don't have any classes, it's going to ask you to create one right away. And so here I have a summary of all my classes. There are archived classes. So, you'll see if you've used Tynker in the past, you can archive those classes and bring them back, if you want to. And then your side dashboard, you've got curriculum and projects and additional resources there. But we're going to start here by going to the Add Classroom button. And you've got a number of ways that you can do this. If you use Google Classroom and you've logged in with Google, then you can go directly into adding your Google classes, or you can connect Clever and ClassLink for single sign-on. I'm not going to show you all that today, but I am going to do this manually so you can get an idea on what this looks like manually. So I'm going to start here and I'm going to call this Rezac CS 101. And we're going to create a manual course. And I would encourage you here, make sure you pick the right thing. These choices are important. So if you're going to pick, a grade level, then Tynker may serve them certain types of content. So make sure, elementary is probably the broadest because it's going to be like K to, 8 or whatnot. So I'm going to choose elementary for that. And oh, good. I'm just watching the chat, seeing you're very active. I love that. And I'm going to go ahead and start and create this class. Now, before I do that, it's going to ask me to create Tynker accounts. If you use Google or you have students and you want to share the class code with them, you can do that and they can get in that way if they already had an account. I'm not going to do it that way, but that's a great way to get students into your class. I'm going to go ahead and create Tynker accounts. And to do that, there's a couple of ways I can do this. The easiest, silliest way is to just generate accounts. And typically with that, I like to use like you can create a prefix. And for, I think one of my schools page we were the Lincoln Lancers. That was a good one. And we have a prefix and then you can generate usernames here, and then it will create those usernames real fast, and then you can just finalize those accounts. You can change the passwords. You can update all that information if you want to, but that's a quick way to do that. Another quick way to do that is just to create your own. And I know many of you have your own usernames and logins, right? So you may just want to upload or import a class list. I'm going to show you a test group that I have and show you how easy this is. But I'm going to go right to that test group and just paste them right in here. And then we finalize those accounts right there. And I've added my 5 students. And the next thing I'm going to want to do is then go ahead and assign coursework. And so here you might see, you might get the opportunity to assign like a free course like Barbie. If you have the premium curriculum, you can assign that. You can assign a project of the week. We can explore the curriculum here. And that's when I might have access to like P100, P300. There's some free courses in there. So let me pause for just a minute there because there are some great free courses I want to make sure that you all have access to. P100 is basically, we're getting used to, we're learning how to use Tynker for the first time. There's some video involved, but we're learning how to use the Tynker Workshop. Then we get into P300, which is more text coding. There's that free Barbie course. And then there's an advanced P400, which is kind of like an 8+ advanced course. So you can bring that over to your students. But let's preview P100 here. You've got a number of great courses here. And this breakdown that you see here is very similar to all of the ways that we break down our coursework. So you've got like an overview, you've got lesson plans, presentations. You've got these great illustrative lesson plans. You can crack those open right there. And you'll see not only an introduction, but the blocks and the vocabulary and objectives. All of these were built by educators. Everything is ready to go right out of the box for you. What we've done here. You've got some optional activities, offline activities I know many of you ask for. And then if you want to run that lesson, you can just hit that run button. And what you have is a great presentation. You can throw up a slide deck and students you can start presenting in front of your classroom. We've put all these decks together for you to make it real easy with your objectives. They're all tied to the lesson plan and then all the blocks that students might be using in that coursework. So it's really, really well done. Everything's ready to go for you. You've got your answer keys right up there. If you want to preview the content, you can just go to the student view and open up any of the coursework right there and practice it yourself and play around. I always encourage everyone to play with the content. And some of the early coursework, P100, P101, P201, those ones, or P101 and 102 will have voiceover. So you see some of the early stuff here will have voiceover for them, for the littles. And it's just really smooth and well done. It's a familiar environment, but it's been kind of amped up and made real simple for your students to start engaging. And this is what we call the puzzle environment. You'll see puzzle courses. There is audio, but I've turned it off for now, but you can hear a little bit of that. But probably saved you a little bit of stress with that audio. But these are really, really well done. And so you've got P100, you've got P300. Those courses are all getting started. And what ways to use them? I would, if you have the premium content, you have access to these courses too. So I would use them as ways to get students comfortable with using Tynker for maybe the first time, or if, let's say, maybe you have attrition and you're doing a class that if you have students that maybe after the first week or something, switch to a different class because you're doing electives, then using these courses are great in the beginning because they won't use up your premium content. So just something to think about. That's good strategy for using these free courses. P300, you're going to see this is more of, we're getting into advanced block coding and then into JavaScript and Python. So there's some of those modules there. And I'm not going to crack those open too much, but they are awesome and you should definitely dig in, and I'm going to go ahead and assign one of them. And I can assign all the lessons, or I can choose individual lessons. Usually I do one or two, maybe three. This one, the Welcome to Tinker is kind of a video intro, but you can do that, and it makes it real easy for you uh, to do that. And I'm going to assign it to that one class and wait 1 second while that is. Now I've basically what we call completed the funnel. I've created a class, I've added students, and I've assigned coursework, and they are ready to engage. So that is kind of the beginning here. Just keep in mind, right? Your teacher dashboard can do all sorts of things. You've got the ability to create classes, manage students, assign projects. There's an actionable dashboard here once you've completed the funnel where you can then showcase projects. There's a project showcase that's really great. And then you can monitor and track progress. Everything is kind of like, stay engaged with your students. And then these are all actionable. So you can print certificates, and I'll show you a little bit more of that soon. But there's a lot of great tools here for you. Just a snapshot of some of the great Tinker curriculum you've got. You've got the pre-reader and 1A, 1B. These are puzzle-based courses. You also have Space Cadet and Dragon Spells. Those were added. They are part of the Everyone Can Code program that we did with Apple many years back, but they're now part of that curriculum. And there's so much coursework. It's not even on this page. I'm just presenting and showing you some of the stuff that's here that's the meat of what we offer, P 101 and 102. These are project-based courses, so it moves along from puzzle-based to project-based. And then we move into text-based with JavaScript, Python, and some new additions, which I'll have to be able to share with you in just a minute. But let's take a look at some of this great coursework. Tinker Junior. I want to show you just a few of my favorites when it comes to things. If I was thinking, what are three things I could show you about the Tinker coursework that's just amazing? I'm going to show you these three things. So I'm going to show you a little bit of Tinker Junior, which has a great announcement that I'll share with you in a minute. And then Programming 101, and then some of the game development stuff in Programming 202. So let's go ahead and take our next steps into previewing some of the great coursework that's here. So I'm going to go back to my Tinker dashboard here. And again, I've got my classes here. I just created this wonderful class, which is AAA RESAC, CS. And there's this nice box here. It's kind of like always going to tell me to do something. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and like I can do my first lesson plan. I will do that in a second, but I'm going to go to my lessons here so I can preview what I've got here. So I'm going to add more and go down to explore the curriculum. So a few things you're going to want to be real aware of, and that is these three. So we're going to take a look at icon based. That's Tinker Junior. And then I'm going to jump ahead to Programming 101. This is where you really dig into the Tinker Workshop. And then we're going to jump into 202. I'm going to show you a couple great things about that and why I love that course. But let's take a look at Tinker Junior here. By the way, if you had this course and this coursework and you wanted to sort this, you could just sort by K2, and this is what you have. You have Tinker Junior, the All About Computers, which is a video course, and then these puzzle-based courses. So these students are just working on puzzle-based for now. But let's go ahead and do this course overview. And here again, I've got this great breakdown of the lesson plans. And I mean, there are just so many. And I've got all my presentations are embedded here. I can take a look at the student view. There's standards and answer keys. So everything is ready for me. Let's go ahead and open this first one. So you can see it's a great lesson plan. I know we don't all have Tinker, we all have pre-K or kindergarten, but that's okay, because when you see this, I want to make sure that if you don't have the littles, that you suggest this to somebody in your school or in your district, because it's really, they're really going to love it. And so I've got my presentation here. I've got my answer keys and the student view, but Since this is an iPad and Android-based course, I'm going to go ahead and just crack it open for you on iPad and give you a little walkthrough of this lesson and how we teach to students who don't know how to read yet. This is all audio-based, basically. So I'm going to start here. And I turn the audio down a little bit just because it's a little persistent. But there's 10 experiences here that we're going to start with Ocean Odyssey. And I'm going to go back here because we literally, we're doing this all with audio and icons, starting here in the beginning, teaching students kind of basic pattern recognition. These are basic logic and reasoning skills that students are, they're learning before they even know how to read. So I love that idea. But then we jump ahead and we're starting to do some basic sequencing with students. So they'll be presented with these icons. They can figure out the puzzle. They're going to have to do this a few times, and that's okay because they're going to be learning that wonderful skill of persistence. But then they get to the end and it just gets more and more challenging for them. You can see in that lesson how it kind of presents the block environment that they're going to be using when they get to the next level. So that's Tynker Junior, and it's just really, really well done. So you're going to love that. But let's skip ahead so you can see P101. So I'm going back to my K-8 coursework here, and I'm going to take a look at this course overview. And now we're getting into project-based coursework that we're going to use the Tynker Workshop in. And so this is a great lesson to get them introduced in how to start building projects. And that's one of the things you'll notice with Tynker is they just start amassing project after project. And I love that. Again, you've given some great warm-up suggestions here and some offline activities that you can do with students. But those are great ways to kind of get them started. But I'm going to go ahead and run this lesson. And again, I'm given my answer keys. I've got my presentation, my lesson plan. Everything is kind of here in this modal. And then I can start presenting to my students this great lesson and what they're going to learn, their objectives, and all the blocks that they're going to be using in this lesson. So here they go. All right, and you'll notice and you'll see that Tynker is very story-based, right? We even use the terminology like actors and costumes and the stage and things like that. And that's done with intent. So I'm going to look at the student view here, and as an educator, you can see and jump around wherever you need to. You can jump around to any part of the lesson that you like. And you'll see that in the beginning of these, they're scaffolded and they're student guided. So as students do them, they have to go through the ladder. You can jump around, but they have to start here and then they can build up the ladder and then until they are given a summative informative assessment here in the end. So they have a quiz and then a final project. And so this is, it's just fun. We have a lot of fun with the way that students are introduced to the project environment. And this is the Tynker Workshop. So this is basically where they create their projects. And in here, typically a Tynker project, if you've ever done them, it comes with a model. So we're modeling what a final project might look like. And there you go. And then their job is to then go ahead and build that project. So you can see here that, in fact, I've done this a couple times. We'll trash those. They can take their blocks directly from the tutorial and start pulling them directly in. Little tricks about like the Tynker Workshop, like stretch it out, make it nice and big so that students can see. Sometimes I see them coding in these tiny little boxes. And but this is where their tutorial is. They can test their code and then they can go to the next step. So everything is really, in the beginning especially, we're really helping them along as they go along. And yeah, no, I hope I see that, Shaylee, it is playful, it's gamified, it's fun. There's a lot of things here for them to discover. And within the Tynker Workshop itself, there's just, great ways to add more actors and upload and customize. But this lesson in particular is just really, really well done. And they start building these great projects, and you start to see, when you go back to your class, and I'll go back to, one of my classes here, you really start to see all of the achievement that they're making. And you've got that dashboard. You can go in and get a nice snapshot and see what everyone's doing, concepts mastery. You've got their course progress. So you've got a lot of great stuff there. And so that's a little bit of P101. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my class and my curriculum and preview another great course, which is P202, which is a little more advanced, but Tynker is super gamey, right? It's super like game development. So I want to go ahead and dive in a little bit just to show you like where we're headed when it comes to Tynker coursework. So we're going to go to the course overview here with P202. And you can see here as we start getting into like the middle grades, basically right before we start getting into the text coding and advanced block coding, that they're starting to learn some real great game development terminology here. Game effects, rules, parallax view, and things like they're really in depth for fifth and sixth grade. So this is a great, great lesson. So that's lesson 8. I want to go back. I don't want that lesson. That's not the one I want. But here, back. 202. There we go. All right, back to my lessons here. But I do want to check out physics, right? A big part of game development is physics. And what a fun way to integrate physics into curriculum and to, young students, right? Fifth and sixth grade, and they're learning how to use physics within their game because they're going to want to figure out how to make things drop and fall and bounce around. And so let's open up that lesson real quick so you can kind of see. This is where students start using the physics engine, and they've got their concepts, and what a great lesson plan here. But we're going to go to the student view here and just kind of show you a little bit. Tynker has these great characters that kind of pop up and explain the concepts for them. So as they go through, they're kind of going through it. They get a little bit of exposition, and we're going to learn about physics and how that, when they do this, that, ball goes up in the air and it comes down. And this is a great example of how these blocks are integrated and what they're going to do when you put them into your project. And so it's going to give me an example here. I like this of a couple of these blocks. And then I can basically show what happens when I set gravity to 0 by 10, or set gravity to -10, right? They're going to go up, or 10 by 0, they go over there, or the other way. And so students are iterating, they're exploring, and they're experimenting, and they're trying, and they're seeing what happens when they do this. So I can actually go up here and I can skip ahead. And then what we're doing is we're going to start building little elements of very much like um, Angry Birds type of game. And so you can see here as the blocks fall, they open the Tynker Workshop and they start learning how to use the physics engine to kind of start the game where everything like falls. If you remember that game, that's where that comes from. So it's a very simple concept, but now they're going to be using their physics blocks and using that. So there we go. But we have to start guiding things, and I'm not going to go too deep into this, but I did want to show you just what great skills your students are going to be learning and practicing when they get into this coursework. So that's the Tynker coursework, at least a little bit. I mean, there's so much, I don't even have enough time, but I want to show you a couple of new announcements here, a couple of big announcements. And Tynker Junior right now is available on Android, and you can get it on your Chromebook through the Android Google Play Store. So I know this is been something that's been a little challenging in the little past year, and even couple of years, is to have these two courses or this particular course available on Chromebooks. But now it's really school forward, ready for you to go through the Android Google Play Store. So that's that. And also for you for middle school, I'm sorry. So yeah, if you want to download that or you want a direct link to it, here you go. Just go to, download Tynker Junior, go to codehs.com/Tynker Junior. I think that's been shared probably a number of times, but add that to your school apps. And then the second thing that we want to announce basically is these three courses: Intro to Art and Programming, Data Science, and then Java 101. All three of those courses were added to the K-8 and middle school licenses. So I don't know how important this is. So important because these are our Intro to Art and Programming course was developed by an amazing professor out of like Cal State or Poly Arts in California. Great art school. And it's all about introducing and integrating computer science into artwork. They're doing branding and logo design, and they're doing all of this with code. So you really owe it to yourself to try and dig in. If you want the middle school or the K-8 license, you've got access to those. Basically, it comes directly with your coursework. So just keep that in mind. So if you need that link, codehs.com/K8, that ought to take you directly to those choices, and you can preview those right there. Those are the additions. All right, so kind of our last aspect here of the presentation here today, the webinar, is just a little bit more about the Tynker Workshop. There's some great stuff in the Tynker Workshop. I want to dig in a little bit more because as educators, you have the ability to really do some great stuff within the Tynker Workshop, and I want to make sure you have that ability and you know exactly where everything exists. But we're going to start with taking a look at the Tynker Workshop, creating a blank project, and just getting you familiar with that. So let me crack open the projects area here. But I'm going to leave that one. I've got a lot of windows, so I don't need them all. But there's a project space right here for you. And again, the students have a project space too. It looks almost identical. And they sort at the top here, but if you want to create a new project, you've got just all of these opportunities here. And I show you this as an example because when a student does a course, they should then go in and start building new things, right? So this is a great place for you to tell them after they do a couple lessons, go in and build an animation project or, take a look at the beginner projects or explore something they've never done before. But for today, I just want to go into the blank space here and just show you a couple things that are there. I'm going to build a blank project and push that up just a little bit. So this is what a blank sandbox in Tynker is, right? This look right here. You've got your library of blocks here, and you've got all your different block libraries here. And then over here, we have what we call the stage. And then this is the editor, and you can move this around so you can see your entire editor. There's more space there. But first thing, we typically do in the Tynker workshops, we kind of edit the stage. You can do that. You can change your background, and we've just got like hundreds of backgrounds to choose from. And you'll notice again, like Tynker's very story-based and project-based, so we really lean into that and give them the opportunity to add multiple different type of backgrounds, and we can keep going here. We'll add a spooky graveyard. No, Halloween's coming up. But now I've got a couple different choices here for backgrounds. And I've got a lot of opportunity for actors too. So I could draw an actor. I can use the character builder. I can pick, the zombie guy right here and put him into my project. You can customize all that too. I'm not doing the best on the customization, but there's a lot of opportunity here for students. So I'm building a scene. I'm building a project here with, I've got the ability to add, upload actors. I can go to my media library. There's hundreds of opportunities to add like props, like a baseball, or if I can type, here's a baseball right there. And now I can start building my story with my backgrounds and my actors. And I can even draw my own right here with the drawing tool. And just one other thing that I really like is this thing we call the backpack. And so this is a way for me to store code snippets. So if I created a project before and I've already like created this amazing fish that I drew, that might come with its own uh, different costumes, right? So there might be multiple costumes here. And so you can do this, and that's a great thing for students because they're gonna, coders are they don't want to have to do things from scratch every time. You want to teach them to how to save things, how to reuse code, and start. Uh, there we go. I've animated my fish, so good start to this project. But before I'm done on that, I just want to point out something that's really cool here. I'm going to go down to the bottom left, and there's a thing we call plugins, right? So if you go here, there are things we call AI plugins. And so there is AI integration, there's object recognition, there's pose detection. And these are all opportunities for students to dig into some of the great, like they could create their own um, uh, like little mini language models. But I'm going to go ahead and show you. We've actually created some starter projects in the AI area here under the projects. And so if you go to AI and STEM, there's AI projects right there, and there's a whole bunch. See, there's like face detection, you know, there's hand detection. There's a whole bunch of projects here that they can engage in right away. Object recognition, text classification, and then there's these great projects that utilize all of those things. So there's like Sock Puppet, where you can open, basically, the trigger on these projects is like forefinger touches thumb, and suddenly now I've got a story I can tell. It's great. So I want you to definitely dig into these AI projects, and those are free. Those are in the projects database. But don't forget that in the coursework right here is in your curriculum are two great AI courses, right? So you've got right here, up here is you've got Artificial Intelligence 101. This is great starter project for students. And then you've got Advanced Artificial Intelligence for kind of 7 plus. So I did want to make sure that you saw those two great courses because they're really important. And so we've thought of everything. But that's the Tynker Workshop and some great AI integration and some great coursework that you should definitely check out. We are getting close to the end, but you should at least know that within these projects, these blank projects, you can create your own lessons. So I'm just going to show this to you, but there's a thing right here that's called Create Tutorial. And if you click on this right there, you can actually start building your own tutorial. Did you know this? Did you know this was there? Tutorial 1. And so now I've got a step-by-step tutorial I can start building. This is its own session, and I'm going to do this another time, but I just wanted to show this to you because you have the ability to create step-by-step tutorials projects just like we do, and that's built right into your Tynker dashboard. So a couple of final like little things that I want to make sure that you all have know where they are. But you've got the showcase, you've got the grade book, the awards, all of these things. There are so many great tools, but just to point them out kind of before we're done here today, because we're getting close. But if you go to your classes, and you have a class that's gone through pretty much every, uh, you know, the whole funnel. You're going to get the opportunity to look and see their projects, their latest awards, their recent achievements, certificates, and these are pretty much all actionable. So I did want to make sure you see where the projects showcase is. That's the one I think you should all take a look at. But when you click on the project showcase, you can take any student project and you can put it in a showcase. So you can make it public, you can make it private, you can decide how you want to do that right here by making a public or private showcase, and then copying that link, sending it to parents, putting it in an email. Here's all the great things my students did. But you should really know where that is, and I want to make sure you see that. That is right here in your dashboard, your classroom dash. You can view class awards. You can print certificates. I have many teachers that print these out and they create award walls. So you have this great certificate area and where you can download them, print them out, put them on the wall, and you should know where that is. So that is the dashboard there. But great things said about Tynker. You can go online right now, go to X or Twitter or Facebook. We've got our group there. But I do want to make sure before we're done today that you are given a couple links and we're giving away a t-shirt. As we are completing and we've gone through all this content and hopefully you've had a great time, that Robin, our friend Robin, is going to put this link in there to make sure that you engage in the webinar survey. If you could please fill that out, that would be so helpful. I think we would all very much appreciate it as we get a little feedback on how we're doing with our professional development. And so that link, if well, you can go to codehs.com/Tynker webinar survey. There it is, right in the chat. And a couple other great things. So it's in the chat. If you want a little bit more about, you want to know a little bit more about Tynker. If you're doing a free and you want to investigate Tynker Premium, you can go to codehs.com/Tynker quote or use that QR code and we'll get you a plan. If you need more support, schools@tynker.com. That's going to get you some support. Have any questions? We've got a great team. They're responding so fast right now. And then if you want to take a look at getting a custom PD for your own group, you can, let me put that up bigger. You can go to tynker.com/TynkerLivePD, which is another great link. And you can request a custom PD for your school. So all of that great stuff there for you. And that's going to do it for us today. We are, I think I did this just on time. But any questions? We have to give away a t-shirt, don't we? Oh, okay. T-shirt winner is Dom. All right, so Dom, we do need an email for you. You can message one of us and we're going to send you the instructions on how to get this great t-shirt. The better one, not the one I have on. But more information, thank you for putting that in there. Thank you, Don. That's perfect. Dom, sorry. But we have our t-shirt winner. We have made it to the end. Thank you so much for coming to getting ready with Tynker or getting started with Tynker for this fall. We are doing this again. So if you have other, you want to come back, we're going to do this again on September 3rd. You want to invite more teachers, we'd be glad to have them. But thanks everyone for joining, and we will see you next time. Thanks again.